What's up, everybody? I know it's been a while since our last video.
We've been dealing with some copyright issues with YouTube and some things going on outside of our YouTube world, but we'll hold off on telling you about that until the end of the video. If you're interested, just wait for that.
So for now, let's get to the boat tour. Alrighty guys, so this is Bud. He's actually the broker for this boat, and we met him a year ago when we were leaving Safe Cove on Freebie. He was right behind us on his island packet.
Hey, welcome you guys. So this is a 1972 Camper Nicholson, as I'm sure you know. But what's really remarkable about it, it's a true blue water boat that's been across the Atlantic 3 times on her own bottom. Thanks for coming, you guys, and it's been great to meet you and know you, and I hope we can do this again.
Definitely, and thanks for letting us come take a look.
All right, moving forward on the deck, you have an electric windlass.
The chain goes down through the deck and then down below the bunk down there, so all the chain weight's very low on the boat.
It has a nice protective plate so you don't scratch up your deck with your chain too, which is a good idea.
Roller furler. I think there's a rock to anchor, yeah. Rock to 25. It's 25 kilograms.
Large cleats too, which is nice to have. There's 2 forward and then these 2.
Looking back on the boat, I mean, it's very pretty.
Moving back, something I thought was interesting. We loved this on our first boat, Somnium. We had a behind the mast furler, and I've never seen one on a boat this big, I don't think, which is awesome to see. We loved our behind mast furling system. I really like that this enclosure actually comes further than the windows too, so it gives you more shade in the actual center cockpit. I just noticed there's wipers too. That's pretty cool.
So you can see that behind the mast furler again. It's gonna make reefing really easy. It's at the cost of a little bit of sail performance, but on a cruising boat, I think it's worth it. You can see the lines go through this like hard dodger and into the cockpit, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Life raft, always important if you're doing big passages. Highly recommend that.
Yeah.
No behind mast furling on the mizzen, but you've got a nice little sail pack here, packed away.
I'd put a CDI furler on that right there. Just so we got both furling.
Yeah, that would be nice for sure. So this boat unfortunately got caught up in both Irma and Dorian, so there used to be davits for their dinghy back here, but that kind of got taken out with the storms. So definitely something you could put back on if you wanted to.
I love having this aft deck on center cockpits though, because you can stand back here and fish off the back.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You do have, because this is a catch, you do have the mizzen kind of in the way there, so you don't have the full aft deck, but there are advantages to a catch rig, which I really like, so I do like catch rig.
The generator is in this aftmost compartment.
Pretty corroded generator down here, but it supposedly runs pretty well. I don't know when that's going to need to get replaced. And you've got lots of storage down there. You got a propane locker there.
There is also an additional propane locker on the starboard side, a little forward of midship.
Heading into probably the best part of the boat,
yes,
in my opinion.
I think I might share that opinion as well. This is the center cockpit. It's nice and protected. You can still see out to see your sails if you need to do any adjustments. There's a nice plexi here. You can also step into the shade, which is really nice. Obviously you can see through these windows. Now I know there's wipers, which is really nice. I always worry about that with windows like these, but they can open anyways.
This cockpit really reminds me of the Amel boats. It's a very similar design. You have the hard dodger up there, the hard windshield, and then the hard bimini above, and then the basically the helm station to the port side of the boat right there.
And I know Jordan loves the helm station, so I'm going to show you him in it.
So this is very protected, obviously. As you can see, you know, you really wouldn't have to worry much about weather coming in. You can also, you know, hook up some isinglass or something for behind you, but it's not even really that necessary in like a tropical environment like this. This would be more than enough, I feel like. This is really nice. This is something that I wish our boat had, and this is something that we're going to be looking for in our next boat, is a protected helm station like this. I think this is very important, and the visibility is really good. So looking aft from the helm station, you can see that the coamings are really, really high. I mean, they're up to almost Randy's shoulders. When you're sitting, they're, you know, at her neck. This is a very, very safe cockpit.
Very.
And very protected. So I can't say that enough. Anything else you want to say?
You'll also notice that you can get to the aft cabin this way and forward, so it's actually a walk through. We can get through from the inside as well. Just
real quick before we go forward, all of the control lines and everything do come to the cockpit, so you do not have to leave this very protected space. All right, let's go down.
There's a pretty spacious salon area in here. You have a settee here, which actually you could face aft for it to be a nav station. And then settee area with the dining table.
So this is kind of like the little nav station. It kind of blends right into the main settee area with the table.
And
right
all
there.
your electric controls are also there as well. And you have like a little sea galley here. It's nice because you actually step down into it, which I feel like makes it a little more protected and almost like a nook. You can also put a strap here to secure yourself at sea, which if you're cooking at sea would be a really good idea. This is a gimbaled cooktop and oven. You've got lots of little storage areas and compartments. It looks like this would be your cooler as well. Refrigerator, sounds like.
And then lots of good ports right here, port lights.
Yes, so much light.
So much lighting coming in there. They're not opening, but it's...
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't look like they open.
You know, they have curtains over them, but you've got lots of good stuff. Yep, and very big hatch there for lots of ventilation again.
This does not drop down to make a berth here. You could sleep one person along that settee, but I'm sure you could also come up with a way to make this adjust.
Yeah, I'll bet you can. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, you know, it's a used boat. There's going to be lots of stuff that you can do to it.
Oh, and also, I kind of thought this headliner was interesting. It looks like it's all teak strips, which is...
It looks like it's been redone to me. It doesn't look original, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Very possible. There is, if you are sailing up north, a propane heater, which is interesting. We don't see that too often in boats down here.
Yeah.
But this boat has actually crossed the Atlantic 3 times, which I think is pretty remarkable. All right, so we have a head here that is used as a head. I say that because there's another head on the boat that's used as a shower stall.
That wallpaper sold the boat for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So, pretty big head. It is a wet head, but they're using it as strictly a head, not a wet head right now.
Looks like you have a large pantry or locker here.
Looks like a hanging locker.
I haven't looked in it.
Hanging locker. You've got the owner's stuff in there.
Okay, continuing forward, this is your V-berth. So it's kind of got a split setup here, and what's running through here is the anchor chain. So Jordan mentioned that when we were above, the anchor chain feeds right through, so you have a lower center of gravity.
You can go in and out of the hatch from the ladder. Look at the little vanity right there.
Yeah. Lots of built-in storage everywhere, because these bunks are actually pretty high up, now that I'm looking at them.
Yeah. This
is actually double padded, so the pad for over here is over there, so it's deeper than that. So now we're going to move aft. That's interesting. I didn't notice this before. What do you think these holes are for?
Ventilation, probably.
Well, moving past the galley is the walk-through. I'm about 5'6", 5'7". Pretty easy for me, but if you're taller than that, it might be a little inconvenient. This is also a wet locker here that you can store any of your goodies that might get wet, like your foul weather gear and things like that.
Yeah. It's nice that this is here, but you don't have to use it, you know. You can go through the cockpit to get to the...
All right, just an idea of height. So I said I'm like 5'6", 5'7". My head doesn't really fit, but if I just crouch a little, it's all good.
So you've got some storage hidden down here. So you're probably going to want to put stuff down here that you don't use every day. Because it would be kind of... I'm like on my knees right now. The aft cabin.
So this is also a split bunk setup with a hatch above it. This is a compression post this time. Got a little settee in here if you just want to kind of chill and hang out. It looks like you've got a lot of storage right beside Jordan. And then this is the other, it was a wet head, but now it's just being used as, I can't open this. There we go. Now it's just being used as a shower stall, but you could obviously put a head back in there if you wanted to have two heads.
Yeah, so that's strictly a shower right now. So it is a split bunk setup, but you could set this up somehow to have probably a queen size to a double size bed athwartships instead.
Yeah.
But you know, I like the setup like a guest room, but
or if you have like two kids and you wanted to stay in the V berth and convert the V berth. Just all depends on what you want. Or if you're 4 single people, then that's a perfect layout.
So we just opened up the hanging locker in the aft cabin. So you can see you have a hanging locker and then you've got some like drawers there.
I also have a little desk over here.
We're looking forward from the aft cabin. You can see there's the aft companionway and then the forward companionway. And that is the helm station right there. And down there is going to be the engine compartment. And you've got your Perkins diesel down there, 85 horsepower Perkins diesel. And it is relatively new. It's been repowered very recently. And it runs like a champ. It's accessed just like an Amel, it's accessed through the cockpit.
Just to add on to that, you can see you can open both sides, and I imagine you can pull up this whole panel. And it's also accessed in the walkthrough here. You have another panel that comes down on the side, so you can get access to the side of the engine as well.
Alrighty guys, so as per usual, I'm going to do my continuous below deck walkthrough from the bow to the stern. So I am in the V-berth now, split V-berth. Turning around. To port, you have your little vanity. To aft, you have your ladder that goes out the hatch. To starboard, you have your other little vanity. And then again to starboard, you have a hanging locker. And then turning to port again, you have your head on the port side right here. Going aft again. You've got your main saloon, main settee. You got your nav station on the port side there. On the starboard side, you have your galley. Very good lighting. You've got your main companionway, Randy chilling. There's an E-perv right there. We're going to go down into the tunnel on the starboard side. We are in the aft cabin with the split bunks, the aft settee. You got your shower right there. Going aft a little more, turning forward. You got your aft companionway. And then your big hanging locker right there. And then your cockpit. And there's Randy again. So what did you think about this one, Randy?
It's an interesting boat. I love, obviously, I know we always say it's interesting, but they're all interesting in their own ways. I do like center cockpits, so it's nice to see a nice sailable center cockpit. We also kind of like catch rigs. We've never sailed on a boat that has a catch rig, but the idea of it is appealing.
Yeah. There's a lot of advantages to a catch rig, and I know for one that I really like is that you can put your wind generator and your radar on your mizzen mast. In a storm, you can also reef a little bit differently. You could have your mizzen sail up and without your main, and then have just like a little bit of jib. So you've got more options for reefing. So you ends up with a overall shorter air draft essentially, because you have a bigger sail plan like this way, so you're not as tall, which is kind of nice, good for the ICW, which this boat can do the ICW because of that. So
overall, it had a lot of good characteristics. Obviously, it has really good engine access, which is always important if you're having to service a diesel. I liked the galley. It wasn't really a nook, but it wasn't like just one straight galley. You can kind of strap yourself in there, which is nice. It is kind of, I don't know if I like it or I don't like that you step down into the galley. It's kind of like a tripping hazard, but then it makes you feel like lower and more center of gravity. I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely think if this were my boat, I would find a way to put that galley table down so that you could make a big berth there too. That's definitely something I would do. If you know what those holes are in that one step leading up to the galley from the V-berth, let us know, because I'm still curious about that. What about you?
I liked it. It reminded me of like an older ML. I think I said that in the tour as well. But I love the center cockpit layout and setup. It did feel narrow, even though
it was. I would say it was narrow.
It was narrow for its length. So for 48 on deck, it was only 12 feet wide, and it also had, I think, it had somewhat larger overhangs. So, realistically, because of the beam and the fact that, it wasn't, it tapered a lot in the back and the front, and it felt more like a 38 than a 48 in my mind. So, it did feel a little small for its size, but it was doable. That and there was no real, like, double berth in the boat either.
Yeah, that is strange. That's one layout thing that you would really want to problem solve if you're a couple, I feel like. I mean, a couple lives aboard, but I would prefer to have like a double at least.
Yeah. I think for the price, though, this is a good boat. It's got the engine, the main engine is pretty new.
Yes.
But the generator, it runs supposedly, but it's kind of crusty looking.
Yeah, it looks dated, so you'd probably be looking at a replacement relatively soon.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think it's a good boat. I think it's a good project boat. It's a proven blue water cruiser. It's crossed the Atlantic 3 times.
Yeah.
The brand of boat is highly regarded as a high quality brand, blue water cruiser. So I think it's worth it. I think it's a worthwhile project for somebody. I think the price is pretty good, and I'm pretty sure the owners are willing to negotiate. So
if you're interested and you'd like to reach out to the broker, his contact information will be in the video description, as well as the asking price. And the reason we do that is so that we can edit it if it changes. I know we get a lot of questions about that. It's not that we can't say it on video, it's just that we can't change what we said in the video, but we can change the video description.
So all that being said about the boat, what do we want to say about like an update for these guys?
Okay, so I don't know how much YouTube is okay with us talking about it, but we had someone illegally, essentially, copyright strike our last video. So you might have seen that video went up. Someone claimed it was theirs under penalty of perjury, and it was taken down. Clearly, it's a video of Jordan and I doing a boat tour, so I'm not sure why someone would claim that was their video.
And we obviously had permission to be on the boat and all that stuff, too. So we filed a counterclaim, and after about like 2 weeks of review, the video was put back up, and everything was hunky-dory, I guess.
Needless to say, though, while this was going on, we didn't want to put up a new video and have YouTube take it down right away, thinking that somehow it had to do with that copyright strike. So we held off, and then it was the holidays, and finally we are able to come back with a new video for you. So we're happy that we're finally under those circumstances.
So now that that's behind us, we're going to continue to upload videos like we've been doing. And yeah, we've got a lot of different content coming your way. Another thing, I guess, that's kind of an update is what?
We actually sailed our boat the other day.
Yeah.
What? We have a boat? Yes. So some of you have just been here for the tours and are probably surprised that we have our own boat. But yeah, we do have our own boat that we were working on for a long time that has just been sitting in the water behind a dock or behind a house that's under construction. We've been waiting to work on it. The construction's almost done. But if you've been following along the whole time, you know that we did not install our electric yacht motor correctly, and we weren't able to use the jack screws to adjust it, so we needed to haul it out. So we sailed it the other day, anchored overnight, slept on the boat. It was nice, and we hauled out the next day, and we have some work to do.
Yeah. So it's hauled out, and we had a few jobs that we need to do. One is reinstall the motor, like Randy was saying, and she needs to do bottom paint. And we needed to check the bottom of the keel after we grounded to just make sure that it was good. And the last thing we want to do is we want to go from the dripless shaft steel to back to a traditional stuffing box, and we'll get more into that
in those videos.
But yeah, so a lot of stuff that we really couldn't necessarily do while the boat was in the water. So we're putting it on the hard for a little while so we can do that, and then it'll go back.
Yep.
And I think the last update is we are both working full-time outside of YouTube now, technically.
So we're going to try to be as consistent as we can with the videos, but give us a little leeway. Honestly, almost all of the editing is done by Jordan. I maybe lay out some episodes.
No, she helps.
But it's a lot of work for him, and finding time now while he's commuting a good distance to work is also a challenge.
Yeah, so we're both working full-time, but we are using the money that we're earning from that and the YouTube videos. We're going to do it all.
Yeah.
Be jacks of all trades.
Yeah.
To hopefully go into what our next thing will be. So, hopefully beyond freebie. We'll see. All right, guys.
So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it was a interesting boat tour / recap of the last couple months, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to follow along with our journey. And if you want to know each and every time we upload a video, go ahead and hit that notification bell.
See you guys.
Bye.
I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a